Okay, so what am I going to talk about here? Get in shape, not my shape, don't worry. My shape, right? You're going to get in a good shape to become a more valuable agile team member. Okay, more valuable. So what do you value? I don't know. So do you guys like testing? Who likes testing? Hands up, please. Right. A few. Who likes business analysis? Nobody. one. My favorite developer down there. My two favorite developers like it. And who likes coding? A bit more. But who likes money? Show me. Who likes money now? Come on, don't lie. Okay, you want to be more valuable? You want to go to an interview and get 10 grand more than you can get now? Listen to me. Okay. That's my promise. Okay, so let's start with the bad stuff, right? This is waterfall. Maybe there's some young people that in here maybe have never been and they're so lucky. But some of us have been in a project, and this is the shortest term you can get in waterfall, 1 year, 3 months, 6 months, 3 months. So this was like this. You have somebody writing documents for 3 months, talking to the business and writing documents. And then giving the documents to testers and developers. The tester will start writing test scripts. The developers are writing code. And then at a certain point, after 6 months, what normally would be like 9 months, you know, already outside the delivery date, you get something in a test environment. And people will start testing and doing things and raising bugs. And besides the real bad thing that is, that if you start thinking about something today and in a year you release it, in a year nobody will care about it. That's pretty bad, and we all know that. But can you see something wrong in here? I'm gonna buy you a pint if you tell me the right thing that I want to see you wrong in here.
What's the feedback after 9 months?
After 9 months you get feedback, you get bugs in it.
There's a separation of roles.
And she wins a pint.
She knew.
The fact that she was today helping me play this.
She made the slide.
But then, you know, she's a smart person and she works in Body Power, obviously. Okay, so there is a kind of a separation, you know, these different people doing different things. Okay, grand. But then what happened? Jeff Sutherland arrived, right? You know who he is? Who knows who Jeff Sutherland is?
Yeah.
The guy who invented Scrum, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, we have Scrum, and so we resolve every problem. So we got Scrum. So instead of 3 months, 6 months, and another 3 months here, you go 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 week. Now, I'm not saying that every Scrum shop does this, but many Scrum shops do this. They have somebody writing user stories, then testers and developers writing their stuff, and then at the end, there is a rush. The last 3-4 days, the last week, it's a mess. Everybody's trying to test and trying to release something. Now, many Scrum shops miss the point of agile. That I'll tell you in a while. And they kept this separation of roles. They kept these roles separated. You know, if you were a business analyst, you could only write user stories. You know, if you're a tester, do not look at user story, do not touch the code, you can only test. And the developer, you know, you have his headphone on, listen to nobody, and write code. Does that sound familiar? Okay. So, I didn't dream about this, I saw it. So, now, obviously you might say there might be a problem here, or maybe you don't see it. But I'll tell you that, for instance, we try to resolve this problem with now don't look at that, don't worry, don't read, right? It's too complicated. I'm not going to talk about that. Just want to show you the cyclical things that we do. So what we saw in Waterfall and in the Scrum implementation is that there is phases. There's analysis, there's development, and there is test, okay? Now today, if you want to become a more valuable to your team and to your pocket, agile engineer, you need to forget about phases. There's no phases. No phases in agile. There are activities that people do. They continuously do. They continuously test, continuously develop, continuously run analysis. Now, this is what we did, right? Now, let's. I need to mention the people that inspired me doing this in Body Power, and they are Koiko Adzic with specification by example, and Elizabeth Hendrickson with their 8DD approach. So what we did, I looked at what the story was in there, and I said, okay, maybe we can join these two things and try to make things work. And things actually improved. Believe it or not, things improved from kind of phases that we had to a kind of a cyclical development, cyclical testing, and etc. And we got less bugs, we got faster cycle time, and etc. But I'm not going to go into too much there here. So let's go back to Scrum, right? So we were there. Now there is another big thing that is bad about Scrum. It's probably the thing I hate the most, right? Now, you see, I put some stars, red stars. Okay, who can tell me? Mary, shut up, right? Who can tell me what the stars represent? What do you think the stars represent? Well, I cracked it here open. Nobody can.
Handover work for that person.
Handover.
An email, yeah.
I like that. Handover. And what do you do when you do a handover? You do a sign off. You do a sign off. Okay. So that's the biggest problem. If you're in an agile shop and you do sign offs, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Okay? Let me tell you why. Sign offs. What are sign offs? Okay. Let's see my definition that is on the dictionary. It's a point in time where my responsibility ends. So for errors up to then, you can blame me. After that, it's your fault. I don't give a rat's arse. So once you're a business analyst and you write the user story, and you try, fuck, what am I going to do here not to make it wrong? And you put all the different details and the things there to make sure that you're not getting it wrong, right? And at that point, you say, signed off, go develop, go test. At that point, you say, okay, if I made a mistake now, okay, it's my fault, but after, it's your fault. And what happens in a situation when you have sign-offs is you're just trying to single out people that made a mistake. And it's not really what agile people do. Agile people do, what do agile people do? Who knows it? Nobody knows it? I'll tell you, they deliver customer value. They don't care about who made a mistake or anything. So, these people, right? These people, I know loads of them. I used to have a manager, she was the super top, super class of pointing fingers, right? She didn't look like that because she had black hair and she was uglier. But because if she looked like that, maybe I would have been nicer. But she was as menacing as that, and she really meant business, you know. But let's not talk about her, right? So pointing fingers and covering your own ass. Sign-offs, right, is to cover your own ass. You say, I've done my job, right? Now, I don't care. You know, I don't want to make a mistake. If I made a mistake here, okay, grand. But if I didn't, that's your problem. So there's people that actually spend long time covering their own ass without thinking about delivering any value. That's what they do. They don't like making mistakes. They don't want to make mistakes. They want to say, I am good, I'm always good, and you're wrong. So they will spend hours and hours and days and weeks documenting everything they do, so that they are sure that nobody can actually say, you were wrong. So there's these people, now I'm going to read this to you, so don't read that because it's too much, right? There is these people that are actually really into this, right? And they wrote the Cover Your Ass Manifesto. So the Cover Your Ass Manifesto says, we are uncovering better ways of covering your own ass, our own ass, by systematically documenting all we do and blaming others in the process. Through this work, we have come to value being always right over delivering value. Yeah, it's important you're right. Whatever the customer gives you to the customer, you don't care. Accusing others over resolving a problem. Finger pointing over team support. And measuring anything to find somebody to blame over doing your job. That is, while there is value in the items on the right, we first cover our own ass and point fingers, then we rightfully go home and bitch about you. So these people are really specialists, and they have techniques. Look, there's some cover your ass techniques, very advanced one. I document my tests to prove I have executed them. I heard people saying, hang on, I say, why do you document the tests? And they say, because if there is a bug, I say, well, if there is a bug, what's the problem? You know, what's the difference if you have a documented test or a not documented test if a bug is found? Absolutely nothing. The customer gets a bug and they can get the value. But if you document the test, you say, oh, I have executed this. It's not my fault. It must have been an environment problem. It's your fault, environment manager. It's your fault. Or I document my user stories and I have no intention of discussing them with you because I'm too busy to change them. That's it. I just do my job and I don't want you to talk to me. I write long-winded, worthless planning documentation so that my manager has the impression of control, because it's only an impression, control doesn't exist. And they can avoid talking to him. So I send him loads of reports like bugs, trends, and stuff coming here, right and left and center. And my boss is happy. He says, oh, this guy knows what he does. Look at these graphs. You know, he must be good. He must be good. Okay, no. So now, that's not exactly what the Agile Manifesto says, right? The Agile Manifesto says customer collaboration over contract negotiation. Now, a sign-off is a fucking contract. You write down, I've done this, and you can blame me on this. Like if you say, I'm going to give you this car, and obviously if it fails, whatever, if it breaks down in the first 5 years, I'll pay for it. That's a contract. So that translates into shared activities over sign-offs. So customer collaboration, it's doing things together, over contract negotiation, over sign-offs. Now let's see what we can do. What can we do? What can we do? It's not as bad. We can do a sign-off by a high five. Okay, that's what we've done in my team lately. So if you do an activity and you don't do it on your own, you know, if you were an analyst, right, and you were writing user stories, and you thought, you know what, I might make a mistake, so I'm going to have this long document and I say, this is what I want. Instead, if you are joined by a developer and a tester and you do the analysis together, right? So it doesn't really matter. You know, it's three people working together. It doesn't really matter if it's right, if it's wrong, right? The important thing is trying to deliver business value. So what you can do, three people working together, you work together, you do the analysis, and at the end you say, okay, you look at each other and say, are we happy? Yeah, high five. And that's it. You don't need to write anything. It's your team, it's three people in the team. The team is responsible for what they're doing. You don't need to write anything, you don't need to go back when you find the bug and go on, was it a requirement bug? Was it in the code? Was the tester didn't test it? Do we really need that? Does the business user get any value from that discussion? Now answer that question. And why is that 90% of the corporations spend time in a room doing the bug war? I've been in that. I was in a bank with that manager before, the only one. And she would be in that team, in that meeting, and she would love that. Like 3 hours a day, just fighting the bugs. Say, no, that's not. No, we tested that. That's in the requirement. That's in the code, etc. We don't need that. The customer doesn't need that. So, sign off by a 5. And I give you an example. You don't believe me? We do that. That's our senior developer signing off. That's it. That's it. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that you don't need to do things. You can share them. You can share activities. So remember what we said before. We said phases versus activities. So what's software engineering, more or less? Like, let's cut it short. It's analysis, coding, and test. Okay? So it's 3 things. Now you can do these 3 things not by specialists. You can do these 3 things with different people. They collaborate together. And they take ownership. They really take ownership. And at the end of every activity, they just have an high five and they go ahead. So, what I would recommend, you have to collaborate on everything you do: analysis, development, and test. There's this concept of 3 amigos. 3 amigos is 3 people working together. I believe in this a lot for any kind of activity that you can do well, even though you're a specialist. If you get 2 other people, even though if they don't know anything about it, and you explain to them what you want to do, they'll tell you something that you don't know. So get 3 amigos, and if you get 2 people, 2 other people that are skilled, you'll get a lot of things that you don't know. Okay? So this means in every of these activities, you collaborate. You don't do it on your own. You know about pairing, pair programming. You're a programmer, so you know pair programming. Okay? Get an analyst sitting there with you and looking at you. They will find something. They will ask the question and make you think, oh, hang on. Believe me. So there's no need for finger pointing. Do I have to tell him? By the way, it's your fault, Bill. What we need is just, if there is a problem, we resolve it and we deliver the business value. What's the problem? What's all the other business? You wouldn't believe, guys, maybe you have been lucky not to work in corporations where 80% of the time is spent on finding the culprit rather than understanding why we made a mistake and fixing it. Maybe you have. Anybody else been in a place like that? 1? Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. People are shy, they're afraid of saying something. But yeah, these places exist. So we don't want this place. We just want to fix things, don't we? What do? We deliver customer value. Okay, so now, what do we need to do this? What do we need to do this? And why are we all talking about this thing? Let's go back to what we were talking about before. It's like you want to be a better engineer, better agile team member. So you need to do something to become one that can add more value. So this is what we need. That's what I think we need. T-shaped people. T-shaped people are like this, right? Can I get the T-shaped people up, please? There you go. 2, 3, 3. Can I get another one, please? Another one, another one, another one, another one, another one. Okay, I like that. I like that. Now let me tell you about these guys, right? Okay, maybe you say, what are you talking about? Is that Jesus Christ or something? No, I didn't get there yet. No. This is the guy. Okay? This is an example. This is a tester, a T-shaped tester. Okay? This tester, right? I'm going to go here and make a mess with the... It's got a very strong testing body because, say, for 5 years he's been in testing. He studied testing, he did courses, he worked on testing for 5 years, so he knows what he's talking about. He knows stuff about integration testing, end-to-end, he knows stops and mocks and doubles and whatever you like. But then, you know, if he only has this and these arms are here, right? What can he do? He can coach the team. He can coach the team. Yeah, he has strong testing body, and he can go to his teammates and say, you know, I'll help you. Sometimes the developers, what happens to me, the developers, they're not sure whether they should automate something or not because they're not really in there, they don't understand if there is return on investment on automating something. So that's what the tester can help you. A strong tested body can help you doing that. But then they can help you doing exploratory testing if you don't know what it is. Maybe they can sit with you. But then that's it. What happens when the tester has nothing to test? You can sit there, watch YouTube, grand. After a while you get bored. So instead, what you can do, you can go, you see a developer that probably, no more than likely, if the tester has nothing to do, the developers are busy, right? It's either or. So you go and talk to your mate developer and say, listen, no, hang on. Listen, what can I do for you? And maybe the developer that doesn't know that you can help him says, you know, you can't actually do anything. So what you can do, you can just sit there. Do you mind if I watch what you do? Sit there and look at what he's doing. And maybe ask him to say what he's doing. And I can tell you, even sitting there, you will learn at least one thing. And there's one thing a day you can learn. And if you're interested, you can go back to your desk and maybe research, what was he doing? Hibernate. Let me see, how do you spell that? Oh, that's what it does. And learn something. Maybe the next time you're talking to the developer, you will understand what he's talking about. And maybe you'll be able to do a little thing to help him. But the good thing is that the next time, when you are swamped, you're a tester and you're swamped, you can ask your friend developer and say, listen, give me a hand. And more than likely, he will help you. By sitting with the developer, you will grow this left hand a little bit up. And you will be able to slowly, not straight up like this, but slowly you'll be able to lift it up. And when you have this arm up, and then the same with analysis. You'll be able to support the team. It doesn't mean that you have to write the code. It doesn't mean that the tester has to write the code. No. But he's going to be able to support the team. He's going to be able to support the developer to do even the small tasks that make the developer's life easier. And this is not only for the tester. It is for any agile team member. And you'll see the three guys, one analyst, one developer, one tester, that decided to be really strong agile team members. And they studied, they sat with their colleagues, they helped them, and they grew the skills. So now, I know there's filthy people in here. There's nothing sexual in this position, right? Okay, particularly your role. So, I didn't know how to put them. I want to put the opposite side, but it looked even worse. Now, this is what today, like if today I was going to hire a team, right? I was going to hire, let's say I was going to hire a new Scrum team or whatever, new Kanban team. And if I found people like that, I'd probably pay them 20-30% more. How much would you pay them? No, not me. No, I am like that. I just have a big mouth. But I would pay them a lot more. If you're like this, you're going to be able to come in any team, help coach with your strength, with your body, if you're a developer, and support with your arms your teammates. And today there's no phases, guys. Forget about phases. We're trying to optimize cycle time. So there's no phases. People are still doing Scrum. People will do Kanban. Will do in a couple of years. Say 5 years, everybody will be doing continuous delivery. So we're not talking the future. If you want to stay in the business, you have to grow your arms out. Think about it. So, how do I become T-shaped? I think I already told you, but let's try to look at it again. When you're not busy, chances are that your colleagues are. Ask them if you can help, and you learn something. Assist your colleagues no matter what activity they're engaged in. You will learn something new. I mean, lads, I know that developers don't like tests. They have really big trouble if they work with me. But I know that developers don't like tests. And they have worked with a few of you, right? And most of the developers don't like tests. But a developer that cannot test is half a developer. It's like that. Yeah, half. That's software engineering. Developer needs to be able to test. Assist your colleagues no matter what they're doing. If they're writing user stories, why? Why? Do you have to have your headphones on? No, you need to understand what the business wants. Next time you're swamped, you know you're going to ask for help and you will get it. That's good. Get interested in different activities and study. You see, you might find out that you actually like being a business analyst. You might find out you actually like being a tester. Yes, sir.
It's okay for a question?
Hmm?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, I agree with a lot of this, right? And I think it is predicated fundamentally on the study, your last bullet point here. But from your personal experience, right, how willing do you think people are to study outside their specialized field?
You see,
because my personal experience is it's very unlikely. Very, very few developers
survival
actually read books, even tech books.
Survival is not compulsory. People need to think about what's best for them. I'm not telling you that people have to do it. But if you want to survive, not maybe in a couple of years, but in 5 years, if you still want to be in software development in 5 years, I don't think that you can be a guy. I'm the guy with the headphones on writing the code. That's my view. Many of you might disagree with this.
Can I just say something just in relation to that as well? If you do sit in and pair, you might get more of an interest to study because you might know that you're interested in it until you do.
Well, no, I agree completely. I'm not saying I agree with Augusto. I think it's fantastic.
I understand that the people might not be willing to do that. I completely understand.
Yeah.
But survival is not compulsory.
Yeah. No, I agree completely.
Yeah.
I think if you want to further your career, absolutely, you have to study and become a tester as a developer and be more interested in analysis and.
But I take your point, Pat. I take your point, Pat. That there is a lot of people that don't see as in particular developers. Now, don't get me wrong, right? I've been a developer and was shit at it. And I actually became a tester because I was much better of a tester than a developer. But as a developer, I know that developers don't actually like tests because they think it's something that other people should be doing. But that's finished, guys. That's
But
finished.
if you
That's
do-
finished.
If you do sit in with other people who do different activities,
You will
you might
enjoy
figure
them.
out
That's the
that
thing.
have
You will
an
enjoy
interest
them.
in it. You might know you had an interest until you did that.
Yeah.
My question, how can you help people? How can you personally help somebody adopt this attitude?
Yeah. Well, I'd have maybe a slightly radical approach in that. To
Yeah,
make
of course, it's going to be insane the first time people hear it.
Well, to make a developer a tester, I would enforce like 100% code coverage, for instance, on whatever code you write.
No, instead, Pat, what I would
That's
do.
just going to scare them off, right?
I like this. Everybody debate.
But that's my job then. If a developer says that's unreasonable, I'd say, well, show me. No. But my answer is, you show me where you can't get 100% coverage. I'll show you how to be.
I can show you exactly where you can get 100% coverage and no problem whatsoever. I can test copy paths, no problem. I'm not testing the business.
That's it, exactly.
I'm testing the actual technology.
Ah, you're not testing the business.
Exactly.
You don't want to
That's
work
my
with me.
point.
You don't want to work with me.
My
Because the
point
thing is, like, let me just say this, right?
Get 100%.
There is many objections I heard about developers that they cannot test because they don't have the mindset. The mindset. So what happened to me? One day I said, I'm going to be a tester. I'm going to install my mindset. Right? Or they don't want to. They cannot test because I don't fucking know. Like there's many excuses. Actually, I have a blog post with 5 of them. You will check it out. Right? But I don't think that you can call yourself a software engineer if you don't know how to test. And I know that the people that work with me have learned how to test, and actually most of them have enjoyed it. Because if you understand the value of testing, it's not because somebody tells you to test. If you understand the value of testing, you understand it is valuable for your coding. It's not somebody telling you what to do. It's important for you.
That's I absolutely agree, fundamentally agree with that point. But the only way, how do you measure that? How do you push them to?
Well, you don't need to use any metrics. You just talk to people like what I do in my team. Maybe if I see that somebody is not really strong in testing, maybe I say, I'm going to exploratory test this. Will you come and sit with me? And maybe they'll learn one thing.
But there's one rock solid, indisputable measure, which is code coverage.
But code coverage, you see, I understand it's important.
I know it's controversial.
But you see, code coverage can mean anything. You could just run through the code and assert nothing and you still have 100%.
You know, which is the worst thing that's ever came into development in the last 15 years.
No, code coverage.
This false premise that the code is right, but you can have 100% code coverage when you have incorrect code.
Okay, lads. I completely agree with both sides. Okay, I would be with somebody that would like our developers.
That's the reality of the world we live in.
Sorry, lads. One thing. I actually, if you work with me, you know that I want at least 90% code coverage, right? But I know deep inside that you could be doing asserting nothing, and they have 100% code coverage, right? But I also know that I work with people that care about the customer, so they will be doing the assertion. So it's not the policing. I'm not a test person that says do that and they'll check you on this. I want to behave and think that the people that work with me want to deliver business value. So I would expect it. If I have 90% code coverage or 95, whatever it is all worth it. Like every test that goes through, there is an assertion at the end. But we all know, as you said, the code coverage could be completely useless because